Now, Susan Boyle didn't win this year's Britain's Got Talent, but it's undoubtedly that she was the global superstar. She made her US debut last month to 20 million homes.
You know I can't let you just slide through my hands.
Now, we're delighted to be joined by her vocal coach, ONeil. Thank you for joining us.
Just correct one thing. I taught her singing some years ago. She's now under the psych organisation, so she has someone who helps her there. But
okay, but you started her when she was a fresh.
Yes, for you know, quite a few years, and we've always remained friends.
Oh, fantastic! So you really guided her in her early years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know that might have had the biggest impact. It's when you start out small, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you know, that's where your foundations with your vowel sounds and your breathing, and really the way we approached it to a great degree was, I always knew she was someone with a lot of emotion locked up inside of her. So with someone like Susan, the main thing is, you know, I didn't want her to be mechanical.
Yeah.
I want her, and in the time that I helped her, you know, the main thrust was to try and get her just to release all this fantastic emotion that she's got to communicate.
Which, she seems to have done. And did you find, even right back in the early days, did you think she'd be a star?
Well, I couldn't predict star, because that, of course, is.
I don't think anyone could predict how big she's actually become, could they?
I could never think on that, but she always was someone who was a really special person.
What was different about her?
I mean, she obviously, you know, she's got a great instrument of a voice, but it's the atmosphere when she's singing, a certain emotion that she can find in songs. That's a rare quality.
There seems to be almost a vulnerability about her that a lot of people warm to, but combined with that, a great strength as well.
Yeah, well, that of course is just how, you know, someone develops things through their lives, and that's she's bringing out her inner personality to us.
Now, we did just see one of her biggest performances to date, if not her biggest performance to date. 20 million people tuned in. That's outstanding. Do you think she nailed it?
Oh, definitely. You know, I've had emails from all over the world from people who just loved it in America. So.
And you must be incredibly proud of her.
I'm proud of her, and I'm just so happy for her, because, you know, for Susan to be standing there singing with that orchestra, working with great musicians, this is a fulfillment, a great artistic fulfillment for her.
It's quite an unusual song choice, isn't it? There's been a lot made of that. Why do you think she chose such a difficult and challenging song?
Well, I mean, I don't think the song is a technically difficult song for her, but obviously the choice, I've never heard her sing this song before, but she'll have her reasons for this song.
And she's put her own almost spin on it, hasn't she?
Yeah,
like everything, she's given it her own touch.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, her lifestyle is completely different than back when you know her. How is she coping now?
You know, she's just the same old Susan. She's great fun. She's, you know,
is she enjoying it? That's the main thing.
She seems to be enjoying it now.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I spoke to her last, which was just about a fortnight ago, she was in great spirits. And really seeming, she said, you know, that she had really now settled to the task.
Because a lot of people were concerned, weren't they, that she was thrust into the limelight, and it actually started out a huge debate about the world of celebrity.
Well, I mean, to begin with, I don't think anyone else from any field has ever been catapulted over in a space really of a week. I mean,
YouTube, you know, that just was astounding, the attention she was receiving across the globe.
All over the world. Her street, I mean, where she lived, was just crammed with reporters. They were coming with television crews from Japan, Brazil, Argentina, because all these people landed along to me once they'd been to Susan if they couldn't get Susan. So, I mean, I had a tiny
people
little...
were desperate for anything, weren't they? They were fascinated that this seemingly ordinary woman can have such an extraordinary voice.
Yeah, but she's not an ordinary woman.
She's special.
Yeah.
And so you yourself, obviously, to have achieved what you have with her, must have a pretty good voice yourself.
Well, I'm a singer, you know, since I was a very small child, and it's for others to judge about my singing, but I feel that singing for me is, you know, a main form of communication. And the music I sing, I pick the material that I sing is because I have something to communicate.
Fantastic. So it's all about the communication. Now, my producer's begging me in my ear for you to give us a line. He wants to see what you can do.
Right, well, I've been recording an album. Now, I hasten to say, I've been traveling since 2 in the morning. I've had 12 espressos, and that's it. I've not even had breakfast, but I've been recording an album of movie songs. And one of my favorite composers is a guy called Michel Legrand, a French composer, and he wrote the music to a lot of famous themes, one of which I love, which is called The Windmills of Your Mind from the Thomas Crown Affair. So, clear my throat here.
Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh,
I'm
never
sure
mind.
you'll be fine.
Round like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning. That's enough.
That's fantastic. That's brilliant. So how would you describe, you said you're doing some movie songs.
Yeah.
What sort of movie songs are we talking?
I want to do slightly more interesting songs and sometimes find their way onto these movie albums.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm doing a few written by Michel Legrand, for The Summer Knows from Summer of 42, the song you just heard, The Windmills of Your Mind. I also have on there A Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. That's interesting, Pulp Fiction. So you've really got a real diverse mix
Diverse mix, because I love lots of kinds of music. And I've always sung lots of kinds of music. I mean, I started life as a choir boy when I was 6, so I've kind of I've grown out of that.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you're incredibly passionate about what you do, and there's a quote on your website saying, "I don't like the sound of modern digital recordings, so I always use classical equipment. I prefer to record vocals in one take to keep the emotion focused on the song. Cutting, pasting, and digital tracks don't appeal to me." What do you think then about modern music? Do you think it's really losing that personal element?
Yeah, it's not the music. I feel, for me, it's the way it's produced. That often you listen to songs and you feel that the choruses, it's like an automaton performing, because in order to save time in studios with artists, you know, they'll just record one chorus. It's pasted a lot of the time throughout the track. There's a massive amount of digital tuning goes on, and I think this cuts out all the life of the performance, because in truth it's not because these artists can't perform the song completely, it's really just producers and record companies don't want to take the time.
Yeah, perhaps they've not been given the chance to really show off what they can do.
And whereas when I'm recording on this analog equipment, there's no question of digital tuning, and I just like all my vocals to be in one take, so that it's kind of got the life that's in a performance.
Is it almost, well, something that strikes me, a similarity between yourself and Susan, is that when you're singing, it's almost like a journey. It's almost like, like you say, communicating is so important.
Yeah.
And when something's heavily edited and remixed and so forth, it's very sporadic and very broken. But it seems to me that you really want to communicate a sort of a journey and progression and take the viewer and audience with you.
Well, yes, and I don't think, you see, if you do something that's a compilation of a lot of takes, you yourself as a performer, it doesn't matter how well you know a piece of music, you will lose your thread, your emotional thread. The actual vibrations in your voice change as you go from take to take. So the ideal is that you really want to try and get everything as close to possible as in one just master take.
Almost like then acting, like in the theatre. If you're in the theatre, you're there with the audience, you've only got one chance and you've got to be that character. Whereas a film or pre-recorded media can be edited and it loses that personal raw quality, doesn't it?
And the problem is that I think when you know that you've got to nail it in one, you then go into this much more inspired
and
mood,
nerves, and it's good nerves.
Yeah, good nerves, and it takes you forward, and you do things that you wouldn't be able to do if you think, oh well, it's going to be tuned, it's going to be stretched, it's going to be something else.
Exactly. You can almost relax a little bit, and then perhaps the performance isn't as passionate as it should be. Now you're actually touring, aren't you? You're going to be doing is it a UK tour?
UK tour, and I'll go to Ireland as well. And I'm going to tour with a show called Talking Pictures, which is kind of based on the album, and we're going to be doing that next spring.
Fantastic. And in your professional opinion, is there any latest artists that are out at the moment that you really think were ones to watch?
Any that you're teaching?
You know, I like lots of different people, but I just right now I've not been shook by anything.
There's
that's
nothing
particularly
inspiring
new.
you too much at the moment?
Just not too much that's absolutely new.
And is there any
Which
new
sounds
prodigies?
really boring, but
Not at all, not at all. It just means that people need to really get their acting
Yeah.
gear and try harder.
Yeah.
And are you still teaching at the moment? Have
Yes,
you got any
I
young prodigies, the Susan Boyle's footsteps to
Yeah,
follow?
Yes, I do have, and you know, I've got one girl, and she's only 13 years old, but what really impresses me is she's just this wonderful classical diva, and I don't get them too often. And she's a young girl called Sophie, and she's just amazing.
And could Sophie
You know?
be bigger than Susan?
No, she can be different than Susan, but she'll never be bigger than Susan.